So last night, Hoyoverse dropped some really important info about the 7 new free-to-play light cones that are going to be coming to the Forgotten Hall shop in version 2.0. So now that they are showing us all of what each of the light cones do, today we're going to go over each of them, and I'm going to give my honest thoughts on what I think of them. Now, they are all, in terms of the info they gave us, only at S1 here, so we don't know just yet on how they're going to scale in terms of how much the numbers and everything like that is going to change as you get more superimpositions on these light cones. But I do want to give my thoughts on these cones at base value and also just compare it to some other free-to-play options that we have. So we are getting one new free-to-play light cone for each element, or not element, path, which is really solid. So I'm just going to go in the order here. So the first one is the Destruction Light Cone. Flames Afar has the really cool photo of Sam on it. So for the effect for this light cone, when the HP loss of the wearer during a single attack exceeds 25% of their max HP, or if they consume more than 25% of their max HP, then immediately heal the wearer for 15% of their max HP. And at the same time, it's also going to increase the amount of damage they deal by 25%, lasting for 2 turns, and you can only trigger this effect once every 3 turns. Now, I think this light cone overall can be a pretty solid destruction option, considering that there are a decent amount of destruction characters that do sacrifice their HP. You know, we have right now really it's just Blade and Arlen that do it, but when it comes to the effect of this light cone, I think any destruction character can really benefit from it, because destruction characters do have the second highest aggro value based on the paths, so destruction characters are more likely to get hit. And if you're running a team that has a destruction character with no preservation character, then that destruction character is likely going to take the brunt of the attack. So if they get hit with one of those really strong attacks, they can get a nice benefit from it as well to increase their damage, because most destruction characters are very solid DPSs, so just getting the extra damage boost is going to be nice for them. Now, it really is going to be the one thing I'm a little concerned about is the effect trigger being only once every 3 turns. So you will have times where this will not be up, but I do think this will still be a very solid free-to-play option. Then next up, we have the Hunt Light Cone, Final Victor. So for the effect on this one, you get a 12% attack increase unconditionally, and whenever the wearer lands a critical hit, they'll gain a stack of good fortune, which can stack up to 4 times, and every stack will increase their crit damage by 8%, and you lose the stacks you have at the end of your turn. Because of that last part of the stacks going away at the end of the user's turn, that means this light cone is really going to only be good for characters that can do damage and do those critical hits outside of their turn, which pretty much here, the 2 best candidates for this are going to be Dr. Ratio and Topaz. Now, I do think this light cone can work on Sela, but it's really only going to be in situations where you can get those resurgence procs and you get 3 or 4 attacks in with those. But at that point, if you're killing the enemies already, the extra crit damage you're getting isn't really going to be that big of a benefit for her. So I really do think, while this light cone is good, I think overall for the Topaz and Ratio, I do also think it's kind of limited in terms of who can really take advantage of it. So that is something important to keep in mind as well. Most of the time for free-to-play light cones, I probably would still just recommend the Cruising in the Stellar Sea from the Herda shop. Then we have the Erudition Light Cone, the day the cosmos fell, with all of Ruan May's little creations over here. So this light cone gives a 16% attack increase unconditionally, and whenever the wearer uses an attack and at least 2 of the enemies that are hit have the corresponding weakness to the attack, you'll get a 20% crit damage increase for 2 turns. Now, I do think that this can work very well in a lot of situations, especially if, like for Memory of Chaos and Pure Fiction, if your DPS is focused on the majority of the weaknesses that the enemies have, you can get a good amount of value from this. But I do think that the other Erudition Forgotten Hall Light Cone, the Seriousness of Breakfast, is going to be a more consistent option overall, because that one just gets the bonus based on how many enemies defeated. So, I think there's pros and cons to both, but I think this one is very slightly more situational, but I do think that the benefits from both of them are still going to be very good overall. Then we have Dreamville Adventure, the Harmony Light Cone here. So for this one, after the wearer uses their basic attack, skill, or ultimate, all allies gain the childishness effect, which will increase all allies damage from the same ability as the one that was used by the Light Cones wearer by 12%. And this can only apply to one type of ability at a time. And so when I first saw this Light Cone, I was like, that's pretty good, you know, because I think like a lot of characters for Harmony are going to be using their skill a lot, and boosting up the skill if your main DPS is usually a good, you know, pretty good thing. So that's going to be solid for those, you know, characters. And then for supports that only use like their basic attack more often, like Ruan Mei and Ting Yun don't have to skill every turn. Maybe for like a Babylon Lune, that'd be good. But as I thought about this Light Cone more, I realized that a lot of Harmony characters really just prioritize energy over having like a buff from their Light Cone. And as I was looking at the Harmony characters, like almost like half of them in the game right now will probably benefit more from using Meshing Cogs than Dreamville Adventure here. And Meshing Cogs is a 3-star. So like, sure, this one's gonna have a better like base stat total for the character, but I do think that in terms of benefit for the way that a lot of the Harmony characters are, you're probably just gonna be better off running the Meshing Cogs Light Cone. So while this one isn't bad, I just think there are better options right now. So maybe if a support comes out that isn't as focused on their ultimate, then maybe this one will start to have some more value for them. But for right now, I think this is just one you can use if you really don't have anything. If you haven't been saving like your 3-star Light Cones for Meshing Cogs, or you don't have memories of the past. Like, this one can be good, but there is just better overall. Then we have the Nihility Light Cone. We have Sparkle on it, so we love to see that. It's called It's Showtime. So when the wearer inflicts a debuff on an enemy, you'll gain a stack of Trick. And every stack of Trick increases the wearer's damage by 6%, stacking up to 3 times. And the effect also lasts for 1 turn. And when the wearer's effect hit rate is 80% or higher, you'll increase your attack by 20%. Which is, I think this Light Cone might be, you know, either this one or the Destruction one might be the best of the bunch here. Because this one is, you know, going to do very well for Nihility characters to just give them more damage. More so for the DPS Nihility characters. I would say that it's probably going to be the most beneficial for Black Swan upcoming. Maybe Welt if you have a lot of effect hit rate, but I think in terms of the amount you need here, Black Swan is going to be the best person to take advantage of that. Because as I said in my Black Swan analysis video a couple days ago, you do want around 120% effect hit rate on her to make her work at her maximum effectiveness. So if you're able to get that value without having a Light Cone giving you an extra effect hit rate, then this is going to be a very solid option for you, because you're going to be getting a lot more attack as well as damage dealt, which for dot characters, getting attack bonuses is extremely huge. So that's really good for her as well. But yeah, I think maybe Welt could take advantage of it too if you have a more effect hit rate centric build, but Welt is a bit, he does want crit rate, crit damage as well, since he's not a dot DPS, so maybe not his best option for sure, but I do think this can work extremely well for Black Swan. Then we have the Preservation Light Cone here, Destiny's Threads Forewoven. So this will increases the wearer's effect res by 12%, and for every 100 defense the wearer has, it'll increase their damage dealt by 0.8% up to a max increase of 32%. Now, this one is very interesting to me because this one and then the Abundance Light Cone, which we'll get to next, I think that both of them are going to be catered to upcoming characters. And with Preservation here, I think this one is probably a bit more catered to Aventurine, who's going to be coming out in 2.1. Now, we don't have any official info on what he's going to do, but when I look at this Light Cone, it doesn't really, I feel like it doesn't really apply to anyone, because currently for Preservation characters, we have Japard, who's not a damage character at all. Fu Xuan, who you could like kind of build as a damage character, but she scales off of HP. And then you have, March, who also is going to be doing some crazy damage. So like having, and also Fire Trailblazer. So this, screams to me, we're putting this in the game now, but its real value is going to come later. So yeah, I think that's where I stand for this Light Cone right now. I would say probably not to buy it right away until we get more information on Aventurine, because it is possible that this light cone does actually benefit him. But we'll have to see once we get official info on him, because we really know nothing about him besides his path and element right now. And then lastly, we have the Abundance Light Cone, What is Real. And for this one, it's going to increase the wearer's break effect by 24%, and after using their basic attack, they'll restore their own HP by an amount equal to 2% of their max HP plus 800. And when it comes to like, break effect there, I feel like that isn't as, useful for current Abundance characters. I think maybe Locha could maybe take some benefit from this, because Imaginary's break effect is very good. But besides that, I don't really see this being better than other current options for light cones for Abundance characters, which makes me think, similar to how I think the Preservation Cone is going to be possibly good for Aventurine, I think this one could possibly be good for Gallagher for when we get more info on him. Because if Gallagher is like a break effect kind of healer, that could be a very interesting kit that he'll have. But of course, this is just purely speculation on what I think they can do based on the light cone. So we will have to see what they are cooking up for both Gallagher and Aventurine there. But yeah, those are the new light cones that are coming in 2.0 for free to play. We do also have the new summonable light cone, which, yeah, I'm not going to cover here, but I'll probably cover at some point on the channel, whether it be a short or a video. I'll say probably a short. But yeah, I do think the biggest winners here in terms of light cones are going to be the Nihility one. It's Showtime. The Erudition one here, The Day the Cosmos Fell, and the Destruction one, Flames After. So let me know in the comments down below what you all think of these new light cones, and if you're going to be picking up any of them immediately once 2.0 drops. But with that, I want to thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed and haven't already, definitely be sure to leave a like, comment, subscribe to the channel, and ring that notification bell. But with that, I will see you all next time.